Welcome to another episode of our reaction video. And today you're back with a conversation of Nico and Vinz on a channel of Liproll.
Liproll.
They had a conversation with Valerie.
Dan told us that Valerie Morehouse.
Valerie Morehouse.
Wow.
I think they were talking about their songwriting, recording of their major hit song that is AmIWrong.
Wow.
So it's some kind of interview, I think, or a conversation they were having. So it's gonna be very productive, like a 1 hour long video. So just sit down, relax, and come with us to the end.
Exactly. Enjoy the talk with us, and don't forget that this is what we do here each and every day. These are the vibes on our channel, on our family. So don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe on our channel, and with this one, just enjoy the talk with us. Let's learn and let's engage together.
Yes, to the end.
Exactly.
So let's go.
Hey guys, this is Nico and Vinz.
And you are watching our episode of Liproll with Valerie Morehouse.
Thank you for listening to Liproll.
I'm your co-host, Ella London.
Oh, you're going to go first this time? Okay, great. I was just staring at you like you know.
I'm their co-host, Ella. So
Ella.
it's Valerie and Ella.
They are the
hosting Nico and Vinz. Let me just take it.
I feel like I need to talk.
It was your turn, And I'm Valerie Morehouse, your host.
I know, I think we just flipped that right there, but
who are we welcoming today?
We're welcoming Nico and Vinz.
Nico and Vinz! I'm so happy to have them on today, I can't even tell you.
Yes, all the way, obviously originally from Norway, or still from Norway, and I just love them because Vinz's favorite color is yellow.
Is it?
Well, he wears yellow a lot.
They're very stylish, those two.
Very stylish.
Yeah, and the nicest people I've ever met. They're nice guys. Really great singer, super talented.
Mm-hmm.
That song "AmIWrong" is going to play till the end of time.
Definitely.
And we're going to hopefully hear about stuff that they've got going on now. Some exciting things they have going on for this year.
And I mean, I'm excited because you actually sing with them. On the mic.
Oh, yes.
And so it was really fun. I'm like, I can't wait for everyone to hear that because I don't think we've actually heard you sing.
No,
on the
I'll bust out
mic.
a few
So
every now and then.
I'm excited.
They're fun to sing with, though. You know, they're easy.
So. All right. Well, let's take a listen.
Well, guys, welcome to Liproll.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
For our listeners that know me or don't know me, I'm your host, Valerie Morehouse. Hello. And today we have Nico.
Yes.
And Vinz.
Yes.
Yay! I'm so excited to have you guys on the show. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, welcome to Liproll.
Thank you.
We have been talking to a lot of different artists and a lot of different actors, and we've been, everybody's got a story, right? Everybody's got a different story. And you guys, I have to say, because I know all my clients, these interviews are so much fun. There's kind of a little bit of a backstory. I know you two better than I know a lot of my clients just because I've spent a lot of time with you.
Right.
You're also more forthcoming.
You speak a lot.
You speak a lot in class. We chit-chat a lot.
Sessions going on in there.
It's music and therapy, people. You're getting a twofer.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of my clients, it is a lot of therapy because it's mind, body, and soul. And music is, this is a very challenging business. And we were just talking a little bit off camera, what the impact of the music industry has on you as an individual and how difficult it can be. So we're gonna kind of walk through this journey with you today. Amazing. On where you were, how you got started. I'm gonna probably ask you questions that I don't know the answer to, but you are definitely two of the nicest, most genuine, organic people that I know.
Thank you.
And I really can say that, and I do know a lot about your lives and where you've come from, and so it's kind of nice to be able to ask questions and move forward, figuring out where, like I said, where you've been, where you were, and where you are now, and where you're headed. So I don't know, Vincent, you were just in, and didn't I ask you about the Grammys? Did you see them?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
Did you guys tune in to that?
I didn't see it.
You didn't watch it either.
No, I didn't see it.
That's been like the main consensus. We had Sarah Drew in here earlier, and she's like, I just can't because it's like the cool kids club. And as an actor, if I'm not there or not nominated, I feel like I'm not part of it, and it just tugs at me, so I can't really watch it.
Right.
But do you watch any of the award shows? Do you watch any of the music award shows?
I haven't watched in a while, to be honest with
neither.
you. We've just been really focused on making songs, writing.
Oh, wow.
And
Doesn't that happen with you as an artist? It would me as an artist. Like she said, as an actor, watching the Oscars for her is difficult. Watching the Grammys, would that be difficult on the reel? Because you're not...
To me personally, honestly, I feel like when I watch certain award shows, especially when it comes to music, I can quickly begin to compare what we're doing to what I'm seeing.
Right.
And honestly, to me, that throws me off a little bit. I feel like we're at our strongest, at our best potential when we're at our most genuine.
Yeah.
And I don't want to compare, and it can happen maybe sometimes subconsciously.
Yeah.
So I've tried to just focus on me, on Vince, and on us in the group.
Yeah, well, I think that's smart. It's like actors not watching themselves on screen. A lot of my actors say, I don't watch myself because it pulls me out of what I'm doing, and then I start critiquing myself and I get in my head.
Yeah.
And we've been talking a lot with guests on the show about how difficult this business really is. It's not as glamorous as people think. It's very hard. It's a lot of hard work. There's a lot of tears. There's the high moments and low lows. And so, your journey goes all the way back to, so for our listeners that do know you or don't know you, you're both from Norway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So where you were born in Norway?
Yes, so we were both born in Norway. And we lived grew up like 15 minutes apart. But we didn't actually get to know each other until we were like 18.
Right. Did I know how you guys met?
Yeah, through a mutual friend kind of put us in touch.
And were you both singing at the time, or what was happening?
Rapping.
That's what it was.
We're the neighborhood rappers.
Neighborhood rappers, yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard you guys rap. I may ask you to do that later.
Don't
Be careful. Be careful what you share with me now,
cool
guys.
Sorry, but I think the rapping part is also amazing because we've gotten to hear or listen to some of their rap songs.
Exactly.
Like they are really great on that show, so we can't wait to listen to that
and
part.
that's where they graduated from. I remember.
That's where they came from. Not even graduated from. They came from, like, it's their root, and now they just gradually
by the way,
changed.
So you were rapping.
So we were rapping. That was the whole thing. Like, we were very into hip hop. East Coast hip hop, West Coast from the US. So that whole influence was really strong for us growing up.
How did you make that change, transfer into just singing? How did that come about?
It's funny, coming from Norway, I think we felt like we wanted to have, because we listened a lot to R&B music as well, and listening to some of the rappers here from the US, which at that time we were comparing ourselves to them, that was the big thing.
Right.
And they always had features with great singers on their hooks and stuff. But in Norway, there wasn't too many people that were singing in English. So for us, we felt like we just had to sing our own hooks. And I think that's where it started singing and playing with melody into the raps. And from there, it just evolved into becoming more and more singing.
And you were, but most people speak English, right? You have both languages there.
Yeah.
So you're that's very influenced. But you're saying even just 10 years ago, they weren't singing in English.
Well, honestly, we were perfectionists. We wanted it to sound
like you had
like
born
the
and
US.
raised,
Yes. And not everybody in Norway knew how to speak English to where you couldn't hear that it was Norwegian.
And especially also because the level we were at that time, which was like at the bottom, trying to make our looks, you know what I mean? So we didn't have the access
to the good ones
here or over there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're like, all right, we're on the D list. We need to perfect this.
So we
just
got to make it work out. You know what I mean? But I think, and that was so funny when we got to the US and we luckily ran into you at the Obama Christmas.
We have to tell everybody about that.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Because we wrote AmIWrong just a year after we started kind of focusing on singing. So by the time everything started happening, and we got to you,
right?
And mentally we were still rappers.
Yeah.
That just had the singing thing, which was a big deal because then you do Jimmy Kimmel, you do Jimmy Fallon or Ellen, all these shows, and you feel like you don't have the tools to actually perform the way.
That's so scary.
So confidence wise, exactly. So confidence wise, because you can pull it off in the studio, but another thing is to kind of do it live. And
totally
not
different.
even that, you do it live, but you do it now at 6 o'clock in the morning, acoustically on a radio show in Germany. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or at the millions of people
It's
are watching.
so much pressure.
So much pressure. You don't feel like you have it. So at that time, that whole singing thing was
you were a guardian angel.
Wow.
Oh, thank you. I'll take
But
it.
it also actually, in a way, it was kind of a blessing too, because I've actually heard through you actually that a lot of artists have ego about coming in to do
for sure.
to do voice lessons.
Yeah.
We didn't have that at all.
Yeah.
Because we were rappers
You
that were
guys were
singing.
so open.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. I gotta say, I was a little bit apprehensive.
Yeah.
See, I think Nico coached you first.
He did.
So Nico said, I found this vocal teacher, and I'm about to go in, and I was like, should I do it? I don't know. You know what I mean? But
you're more apprehensive by nature.
Yeah, and especially,
Yeah.
I would say, especially around that time, I'm trying to get better at that. But then I think we did one lesson.
We knew.
So Valerie was their vocal teacher,
Exactly, yeah, the vocal coach, and they met, they have mentioned when they were going to perform for Obama.
Exactly.
Yeah, on their Christmas party, and that's amazing. She invited them to go and have a lesson teaching for the vocals.
Yeah.
And remember that time they were transitioning from rapping to singing. And
So they were trying to balance their vocals.
Yeah. But wow. They really needed it. Let's continue.
We gotta keep going.
Yeah. So that's when you know singing is all about what you don't know, you don't know. So for the listeners that don't know the story, which you probably wouldn't, but you're gonna hear it now. So I recall, so President Obama and Michelle Obama, when they were in office, have this tree lighting ceremony at Christmas that they do every year, right?
Yep.
And so they have this huge lineup. It's outside. It's freezing cold. It was so cold. I'm like, I've never been that cold. And I grew up in England.
And we in Norway.
Right. It was freezing. And so I was there with Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks, and I was training Rita, and then Tom was the MC, I guess, for the evening.
Yeah.
And so we had Aretha Franklin was there,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Or no, and we had
Patti LaBelle.
Patti LaBelle. I'm sorry, I'm thinking Aretha for something else, not Aretha. Patti LaBelle was there, and we had
Fifth Harmony?
Fifth Harmony, and we had the tenors, the Canadian tenors.
Yeah.
So it was this really colorful array of artists, and I got to meet you guys backstage and talk to you, and I saw you during rehearsal, and I thought the second I saw you, I'm like, these guys are magnetic. They have something really special, but we got to work on the singing a little bit. That's how kind of it all started. And I forget which one of you. Was it John, your manager? I think I spoke to John first? Riley.
Well, I remember you talking to me.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if that was you saying we should work together.
We were sitting at a table and we were on a break or something, eating lunch or whatever. We had just had rehearsal. And I think I was sitting with you and John.
Right.
And we sort of exchanged numbers, and I thought, oh gosh, I hope these guys call. They're going to be so amazing. And you did call me first, Nico.
I did, right?
Yeah, you did.
I can't remember, but I probably did.
You did. You said, I really want to. You were sounded a little tentative, but you do come in with ego. Most people do. And ego's not a bad thing. Ego is just about fear and saying, well, gosh, where am I in this process? Because singing is all about what
Talking about ego, I feel like for me, I would say that Vinz is more of having some ego than Nico. I don't know how I see it, but I feel like Vinz has has some kind of ego compared to Nico. But
what you don't know, you don't know.
And the funny thing is, actually, the ego in that situation will also be the thing that kind of gets you going, because you realize that's the thing that might, like, I want to get better. I want to be the best at this, the best that I can be, my potential. So once the ego kind of shifts a little bit, you can still use it. Yeah, it doesn't have to be as negative,
Right.
That's the thing that kind of like, I want to be, keep going at this,
Right.
Well, I just try to liken it for my clients like an athlete. It's very athletic, and singers have a different type of an ego than an athlete would. An athlete's going to strength train with their team, right?
Yeah.
They're going to. It's a team sport. They don't want to be embarrassed. They want to keep up with their teammates. Right. So there's a lot of competition going within the team. Yeah. As artists, even though you're a duo, you're still your own voice and your own person, and so you're almost competing against yourself, which is scarier because you're like, well, what if if I don't measure up?
Yeah.
What if I can't sing as good? You know,
for me especially, it was I felt like I really want to get better, but then I was always also afraid, am I going to figure out that I can't get better than where I am right now? And that is where the fear comes in. You know?
Yeah, you don't want to be told you can't do more.
Exactly.
But then when you come in and say, oh, the vocal cords are muscles, and I've got 2 vocal cords like everybody else. It's just anatomy. And if I'm with the right teacher, I can actually learn and grow and learn anything just like an athlete. You know, and so that I think dispels the myth of you know, not taking voice lessons or just being in a comfortable space to sing. And so it was fun.
Yeah, and to commend you as well. I think a lot of the process in the beginning with you was also some of the theory. Yeah. Like you would show us how the vocal cords worked, and sometimes we had like nodules and stuff we had to work on as well. Like so we had
anatomical
pictures.
issues.
So you had like pictures and stuff, and we looked at it and you kind of explained it. So it made it, like you said, more like a muscle kind of thing, the thing that you could actually work on to get better at.
Right. It wasn't like, oh, you can't sing. It was like, well, no, of course you can sing, but this is musculature, this is anatomical, this is athletic. And so I think once you take that off the person, you can distance yourself in a way that's comforting in a way, right? And I think that's what happened with you guys.
And also to add to what you just said, which I haven't been with other vocal coaches than you, but I know that you also attack the mental aspect of things. And in my case, remember, we felt like we got to a roof while we were working, where I even went to the doctor to look at my, to scope down my throat to see if there was some muscular issues there, and they weren't.
Right.
It didn't show anything. The vocal cords were clean. I went there 2 or 3 times even.
Right.
And that's when we started to work on a little bit more on the mental aspect of things, and certain beliefs that I had about me singing in my voice was actually stopping me from going to the next level with it.
The mental is huge. And a lot of singers have that spasmodic dysphonia that you've heard about, or vocal dysphonia that you've heard about. That a lot of artists will get, and it's trauma based. It's putting too much pressure on themselves. You know, usually it is a mental to physical issue, and so the mental part of singing and being an artist is as important as the physical. So, you know, I want to ask you guys about some of your early influences in music and life. So you said that you were into rap, and you listened to a lot of hip hop. So your introduction to music, when did you know that you wanted to be an artist? Nico, when
rap wasn't the first music I listened to. I grew up with a father from Ivory Coast, West Africa, who is an artist as well, African artist, and I listened to a lot.
I didn't know that. Your dad's an artist?
You didn't know?
No.
Yeah, he is. But so I started listening a lot to African music growing up. It was African music. It was a bit of reggae. And then rap got introduced to me when I got a little older and, you know, cooler or whatever. Growing up in a neighborhood where a lot of people listened to it. So then it was Wu-Tang Clan, Jay-Z, Nas. And I think around the age of probably 16 is when I started playing with the idea that I felt like I can be an artist one day. At that time, it wasn't even I want to be an artist, because I was playing soccer. And I wanted to be a soccer player. That was my biggest dream. But I just felt that I had music in me, and I felt like I can do it if I want to. So I was just having fun with the idea. But then I think around 19 probably, or
18, 19.
18, 19, when I met Vinz, is when we started really setting the dream down in stone and pursued a career in music.
And then did you guys meet as artists? Was that like a hookup thing, or?
Yeah, because we didn't actually grow up like best friends like a lot of groups I think do. We kind of got introduced later in our teens, you know? And so I think also that may have given us an advantage in some way, and also it became a thing that we kind of had to work on in our relationship moving forward. But we did have a lot of fun just kind of being incredibly ambitious, and just being like, you know what, this thing that we got, it could be bigger than what we have just in Norway. It could be on an international level. You know what I mean? We would look at YouTube videos.
I love you guys for that. You're just these big dreamers, you know, in the best way.
And you know, I would say like the last couple of years, we've been trying to figure out ourselves, you know, because coming off of that big success of AmIWrong, and then kind of having to, and with the label and that whole mechanic work and the scrambling for trying to find the next hit, and then us not really knowing who we are and what we're doing at the point.
Right.
I think having some time to kind of like not tour, just kind of think and connect and communicate.
Yeah.
We kind of came back to the point that, look, man, since the beginning of our time, since the first project we put out was always like this thing we wanted to like inspire people. When we had nothing and we were just doing small stuff, that was still our thing. Like we could inspire. Like imagine we come home in our neighborhoods, see somebody like us from that place, kind of going on the biggest stage in the world.
Yeah.
Well, it does inspire people that they can do something bigger.
Yeah.
It's like, look at where we came from. We came from nothing.
Yeah. And I think we kind of came back to that. You know what? Like that's been a very, the fabric of our DNA since the beginning. So we shouldn't try to hide that, you know what I mean? We should just kind of like embrace it and incorporate that and make that kind of a thing.
Well, you two have a very inspirational vibe about you, and the way that you write lyrics, you want to make a change and you want to, have a message, have a message for people. And you're always both of you are so positive, and I think that we need more of that in the music industry.
Yeah. I think just for us, just kind of, like our dream with this project and just the music in general is just kind of be a part of people's lives,
So tell our listeners a little bit about the formation of Envy.
Like the first, okay.
That was way back, huh?
Yeah, that's way back.
We're going way back.
Oh my God. You feel old when you think that far back.
Yeah. Oh, honey, you're not that old.
Well,
Let's talk.
Yeah, we met.
So that was your first. That was like your first name of
that was
the two
first
of you,
name.
right?
It was Nico N. It was Vincent V N V.
Oh, got it.
And then we spelled it out ENVY.
Very clever.
Very, very smart.
Maybe because luckily when we signed the deal in the US, they said we couldn't do Envy because of
was
copyright.
there an Envy? Oh,
there was another band, but I think that was a good thing.
Other products.
I think Envy represented us the way
we were never. The thing is, we never really loved the name in the beginning.
Right.
We never loved it. We almost felt
Yeah.
because we used to call ourselves Nico Soreba, which is my name, and Vincy V, which was which was Vince's rap name.
Yeah.
And we wanted a group name, which became Envy, but we never felt, because we were supposed to release our first single.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And we needed a new name.
Yeah.
So how many songs did you guys have before? Obviously Am I Wrong was a huge hit, but how many songs did you have? Did you do a record before that? Because I don't really know much about
Yeah.
that.
We did a mixtape called
a mixtape.
Yeah, exactly. From that far back. Envy, Why Not Me was called. DreamWorks, Why Not Me was called. So even back then we were on that inspiring, why not me? Why can't I make it?
Yeah.
And then we did an album. Then we released a single first called One Song that did very well in Norway.
That kind of got us up a little bit.
Got us a little bit up, and then we did an album called The Magic Soup and the Bittersweet Faces.
Massive name. Flopped. Crazy.
That's a lot.
So
that's a mouthful.
Yeah. So we did 2 records before Am I Wrong came out.
Okay, and then when did you guys wrote that with? You collaborated though, right? On that.
Am I Wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Will Idap.
Yeah. Okay.
Will Idap.
Not to be confused with Will I Am, right? Yeah. And
the 2 albums they have talked about, were they like rap songs or something?
For the first one, I think they were doing rap.
Yeah, rap. So before Am I Wrong, the previous songs, most of them were the rap songs.
Yeah, kind of rap. Then they shifted and
like some hip-hop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
so that song was so groundbreaking for you guys because what year was that? Do you remember?
13.
2013, right? And you were obviously already signed, right?
In Norway, yes.
You were in Norway, but you weren't signed. You weren't signed in the U.S. yet.
No.
Okay. So that's so interesting because that song just exploded. I mean, you still hear it everywhere you go. I'm in the store and I hear the song, and it was just, what did that feel like? Having that success. I mean, it just exploded. And how did that happen?
I feel like in the beginning, it felt amazing. Like when we were just there
in Norway,
you know what I mean? You just see this thing kind of just it's an amazing feeling, huh? Just like having something that you just like the momentum shifts. Like you see the stuff that things are just falling into place. You're performing. You're seeing the reaction of people. That's an amazing feeling.
So you were Nico and Vinz by the time the song had come out, correct?
Nah, we were still Envy.
Oh, you were?
Yeah. But before we came to the US, we switched it.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool in that time. But I felt like once we got to the US,
things went so fast.
Yeah, we lost control, and it was just like you were just trying to. It was just too much.
Well, it's difficult, being a band from another country or artists from another country coming to America. It's like, oh my gosh, I've made it in some way, and it's a machine.
Yeah. It's a machine.
And it's very overwhelming because at the time you guys were only 22 or something like that. Yeah, so you're still figuring out who you are and finding yourself, and this machine comes at you, and you're like, where do I go? What do I do?
We had no idea. We just survived because we had a very strong song.
Right.
And we went with it. But we had no new goal after Am I Wrong? So what happened was the song came out, but when it started going down again, like every song does, then we sat there and where do we go now? Because we didn't even know how we had made such a big hit in the beginning.
Right.
We had just been making music, and that just popped up.
But even look at that, like even just because our dream, like you were saying, like it was so, like just for us to get to the point where that song was, that was a big enough dream in itself.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? So once that was done, it was just like,
what do we do now?
Yeah, like that was it. You know what I mean? Like we're here, we moved to LA, we're living in the house.
Right.
We're touring the world. It's like that was like it was such a far stretch just from where we were when we started dreaming it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then did you guys have people, so then you came over to the States. Did they find you in Norway and bring you over? And then how did you sign your deal?
The song was doing very well in Europe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and American labels, they look very much at the Spotify lists, for example, and different lists in other places of the world. And they saw Am I Wrong was doing well. And we got contacted by almost every label in America, all the big ones. And we went with Warner and just felt like that was the best deal and had a connection with them and signed there.
Right. So it's a really hard choice.
It was a hard choice. Again,
it's like big fish, small sea. What do you do?
We were so much back and forth. Even before we signed in America, there were people that were advising us to sign in Germany first.
Yeah.
Because they felt that, you guys are Norwegian. No one had done this from Norway in 30 years.
It was pretty groundbreaking.
Since Aha. Yeah. So people said,
take on me. Exactly. Yeah, of course. That's my generation.
Exactly. So a lot of people would advise us to sign in Germany. It's a safer route. You guys can own more of your songs and so on. So we sat there with Germany and the US. I remember sitting in the studio and we looked at each other and why are we even considering Germany right now? This is our dream. Let's go for America.
Let's go for it. Yeah.
So we just
we
went all the way in.
Yeah, was that the right choice?
It was the right choice.
It was the right choice for that situation. Yeah. Absolutely. I think they did a great job kind of getting it to. I think that relationship worked really well.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys start after that hit? Did you start going back in the studio and putting together an album? Did you have songs, or did you start touring? What happened with that?
Firstly, it was a lot of promo. A lot of promo.
Yeah, just to catch that buzz.
Just to get it going, and America is a huge country. So we had never done promo like that before.
It's crazy. It is not for the weak people.
No.
So also Europe too, though. Remember that?
And Europe too. We just crazy.
You're basically just sleepwalking.
Exactly. That's exactly what it felt like. So I remember even in the beginning when we came here, we were looking at each other sometimes like, how are we going to manage to live this life? Is this what it is? Because it was so different the first 3 months than from where we came from. Because we're from a very small country.
Right.
But we managed, and now it's almost.
People we talk about this ad nauseum on the show, but people think the business we were talking about earlier is so glamorous, and it's a lot of work. It's really tiring. There's a lot going on from press to promo to meet and greets to live shows to recording, and when you're not touring, you're writing. You're it's
look, like even just if you to me, the way I see it coming from this angle now is like if you look at any one of the top artists today, if it's Post Malone or Halsey or Drake or whoever it is, and you see them at the red carpet and they look really good and they win awards and whatnot, you see that's cool, but there's some stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you got to. There's a different respect level to be had once you understand what kind of work they have been doing and what they are doing at this point. And it's not even like we were talking about. It's not even just on the artistical side of things. The making the music, the promo, or you know, just all that stuff, the touring and all that stuff. But there's also the business side of things, you know, because any one of these top artists you see, they have made some serious moves to sustain themselves to that level or to get to that level.
Before you finish, sorry for pausing. You know, it's true what Vince is saying, because it's very easy for you to rise from down to up, but it's very hard for you to maintain that stage of being at that level, maintaining the lifestyle. Remember, the outlook and how people really perceive you. Remember, everything changes. Even your friends change, even the way they took you or the way they look at you.
They look at you. It's really different, and it's also fast to move up and also fast to just come down.
Exactly. So the hardest thing is for you to maintain the levels, to have that discipline, and also what also increases is the workload. Remember, the promos are coming. You need to record another one, and whatever you're doing,
and
it
also
needs to be perfect.
I can feel them when they say that you know, for them they just got to rise up by just that one song,
exactly.
and now after it's just it was international. Everyone is talking about it, and there was a time where the song is now becoming it is now maybe, you know, it's always like always
the waves,
the waves are always up, but then they
down,
come down at some point. So the time when the waves are down, you're now having worries like, how will we rise
and
again? How will we
next,
maintain? What will we do?
But
that dilemma also is crazy.
And the thing that I've just loved there is that there is a way that they appreciated and the way they took in the challenge. Remember, they were really having that dilemma of choosing between Germany contract and the US one. You know, for maybe a moderate person who doesn't like challenge, he could just go with the Germany
or,
first.
If you feel like,
see, will I maintain the pressure so that I can take the US one? But for the belief that they had in themselves, like,
they were very strong.
Let's take this and see how it will.
Because it's an opportunity that comes once.
Like, it's a dream, remember?
And be at that kind of influence. And so now you start looking at the whole thing is different, because that's kind of the epiphany I've had as of lately. It's just when you go from just being this, like I were, like very like, I'm just an artist, I'm just making the music and everything is going on. Once you get to the point where you get the, hey man, yes, there is art side to it.
This is a business.
But this is a business as well. Now you got to incorporate this. You got to be, you can't always just wear the artist hat.
No, and you have to understand that more than ever now.
Exactly. So that's when I'm going back to the point. Like once you see a Drake, you know what I mean? You understand that he's made some serious business. This guy's not only an artist, he's also a very serious business person. Because he has to be.
You have to be.
The moves he's been making to put himself in a position, whether it's just even just listening or having the right mentors and guidance around him, you know what I mean? Like he's done some smart things that goes beyond just being incredibly gifted and talented. And
but you have to make the mistakes to get there too. And as you guys are learning, you know, you're only as strong as your team, the people around you that are guiding you. But it's a huge business. And you know, back in the day, you did have to be involved in your career, but you did have a manager, hopefully, that you trusted enough that would get you from point A to point B to point C. And now, as we're hearing on the show, that all these artists coming in, whether they're musicians, actors, they have to be mostly musicians, so involved in their own businesses. They're all saying the same thing. I have to drive this car. I have to run this ship. Because if I fall asleep at the wheel, that's when I'm dead.
And you gotta be, because you can't be a master at everything. Like you're an artist first and foremost, right? You're not gonna be a master at handling your money and such and so on. But you gotta be good with people. And what's difficult sometimes is, especially for us, I think, because things happen so fast. Now a lot of people want to get involved in the project, and as 23-year-old guys from Norway,
everybody wants a piece of you, right?
Who do you trust?
Exactly.
Who is speaking the truth? Who is the right person for this project? And we came over here with a lot of basically friends also. People that didn't have that experience. They had the same experience we had. So it was difficult for us to manage the ship in the right way.
But sometimes you have people that are close to you that are not your friends. You
That
know,
happens too.
They're not. Some people don't have your best interest in mind
Right.
because Vincent's so popular. He's getting a phone call.
Yeah, turn it off. My bad.
We were just talking about this early. People being on their phones. I'm like, wait a minute. But yeah, you have that moment where it's like, who do you trust?
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to. Your surroundings get smaller and smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what happened with us though with that thing was that, like Nico said, we came with a lot of friends that we had worked with from the beginning, but I think at some point, which we didn't realize until quite late, and we had already kind of gotten ourselves into a little bit of a cluster, was that at some point this was just like at some point this wasn't making any money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So whoever we had, we were all at the same level.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't much to handle. But at some point, this thing went into becoming like $1 million thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So now you have the same people handling $1 million business
Right.
that don't really have that competence.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So that's when you start. But at the same time, you want to, and if you don't realize that it is $1 million business, you still treat it as if it was nothing, And now
Right,
the complications come in
That's
because
when the problems come.
things become real.
Yeah.
Things
Like
become
this-
real. People have agendas.
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
around you
yeah.
that you thought were your friends
Yeah.
have agendas,
Yeah,
exactly.
and you're finding that. Yeah, that's
And
yeah.
there's something that's called the tax authorities as well.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Oh God, I gotta pay
they're
taxes
not playing.
on this
They're not
now.
playing.
Yeah.
So like there's a lot of stuff, and it's been an incredible learning thing. But I don't know. Sometimes I think you just gotta maybe go through it.
Yeah.
Well, the mistakes are where you learn, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you become a better, a better artist or a better musician or a better
Right.
business person.
Yeah.
So you guys have been, I know you've been doing a lot of back and forth between here and Norway.
Mm-hmm.
And touring with some of the old music and your writing. When you guys go on tour, what does your prep look like? Do you have personal things that you need to take with you? What is that? What goes into that?
What do we bring? We like to work out.
Yeah.
We always bring some kind of equipment to work out with.
Right.
I think personally, I'm very loose. I just go with the flow wherever the tour bus takes me.
You're like,
Yeah, and I love going out. For
I'll do
example.
yoga in the middle of the bus. There's no room, but I'm still gonna do it.
I don't have no specific things I have to have.
Yeah.
But
But working out is huge, isn't it, on tour?
It's
like
huge.
I found when I tour with artists for, more than a week, let's say, you've got to find a place to run or to exercise.
it gives you energy, When I've had moments when I haven't worked out and been on tour and been so exhausted to
Yeah.
where I started thinking, now I understand why certain artists go into drugs
Yeah.
to get the energy.
Get the energy because
But-
you got to move.
You got to move. And also just being on stage singing, because we move a lot on stage.
Yeah.
So I remember having some shows where we looked at each other on stage and literally said it on stage during the show. We got to start running again. We're singing.
You're like, I
yes.
can't breathe.
Exactly. So,
I'm only, how old am I? And I'm
Yeah,
running around
exactly.
stage and I can't breathe. Working out is huge.
It's
It is.
huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
And I never really made that parallel, Nico, but that is true that a lot of my artists that are athletic or have to work out or they're lucky enough to bring their trainers with them,
Right.
they are a little bit more disciplined. And the ones that don't work out,
right.
they do turn to more alcohol or something to put them asleep and then
Yeah.
something to wake them up. And,
Yeah.
and it just becomes it becomes a very, very, very slippery slope.
Yeah.
I think at some point on the highest level, you kind of got to you should definitely have fun. Try to have fun on tour as well, because I think it'll be
You gotta have
too tough.
Yeah,
but
you
I think
can't
you gotta
be.
somewhat, if you could treat it somewhat like an athlete, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially kind of what we're doing
Yeah.
with that level of movement and energy.
Yeah.
Right.
To kind of have the discipline of an athlete going on tour, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the working out and the rest, you know what I mean? Like
Well,
having
there's
all that
so
stuff.
much more for you to be doing on tour
Exactly,
these
so
days.
much,
Like
yeah.
20, 25 years ago. Plus, you know, we talk about this very often that artists, they were like rock stars. Everybody was doing drugs and drinking and smoking, and, you know, they were rock stars going on stage and they'd pass out and they'd just do it and do it and do it and do it.
Yeah.
But they also had a lot less live shows than we do now, because all the money stream, talk about the business end, the money stream comes from the live shows, not from the record sales anymore because of the internet. And now we're just downloading for 99 cents a song. You know, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. The business has changed in that way, right?
I remember having a moment, a period where I did a lot, because coming to America, and I kind of started acting in a way that I thought I was supposed to in Hollywood, right? So going on tour, and now it's women.
Were you being a douchebag?
Basically. Now it's towards myself.
On the record, people, Nico, one of the nicest people I've ever met, was just being a douchebag. So if it can happen to him.
Especially towards myself, because now there's, you know, women. And now there's drugs to a certain degree. Like I said, I played football, and I say drugs, I'm talking about alcohol. I haven't done any heavy drugs. But just doing things that...
Alcohol doesn't count as drugs, just PS.
Exactly, right? But also, to me, that's bad.
Right, yeah. Well, you're an athlete. You're an athlete, yeah.
So, and also just spending so much time with so many people. Because not everybody wants a piece of you. And I didn't have the courage and the strength and the self-love to be able to say, you know what, I need some time for myself. That drains energy.
Oh, yeah.
Energetically alone, it takes from you. And I came to a place where I figured out that I have to find this courage back again to say, no, it's my time now, my time to relax, my time. And it's touring with that mentality is a totally different
experience. That's also getting older, though, isn't it?
Amazing.
We've had a lot of conversations, guys, about that.
But I want to see, because I feel like what Nico is saying is a very important point, I think, in our growth and our kind of career. It's just like when we first got here, like the whole identity thing, you know what I mean? Like, so now I'm in my early 20s. I'm from Norway. I made it. We got a huge song over here. I look like I look. So then you start looking at other people that look like how I look at the same age, and what are they doing? All right, so that's the way I'm supposed to act.
For you personally, playing basketball.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean? Like, so I started looking at all these other young stars, you know what I mean?
Know you,
looking at all these other young, successful people, and what are they doing? All right, so they're going out to party. This is the girls, and this. So you start living you start acting like a role, you know what I mean? You try to define yourself as something. You got to live up to that definition. And I think kind of being able to peel those layers back and be like, you know what, I am that I am,
right?
And that's cool. It's been a huge thing, because you start doing less and less of that whole role.
You just have to be yourself, and I think that's growing out of your early 20s and going, oh wait, I don't have to do what everybody else is doing. I can carve my own path.
Exactly.
And you know,
massive.
Exactly.
Yeah, massive.
I can't speak for every artist. You know, some people might enjoy that, and it might be good for them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know for me, what it did was it showed me that being in the studio, spending time with yourself, that's what we did. When we had nothing, we were in a small studio, working every day, enjoying it, having fun. We didn't have, you know, women around or just a lot of people around. It was just me and Vinz in the studio.
Right.
And the magic came from that. Right. So we kind of forgot that in a way, I think. Weren't even aware that we did forget it. But it showed very clearly to me that, hey, that's what we need. We need to go back to basics.
Yeah, I saw that transition with the two of you as well, because you came to me at sort of like, you were still in sort of the height of, you know, the song and coming from Norway and being over here. And I watched that transition, and then I watched you kind of come back. You're like, okay, we tried it. You guys tried that for like a year and change. And then you just were like, oh, this is not me. Now I gotta come back to my earth here. And that's when the two of you, especially you, Nico, you really started to come out of your shell a little bit more. Where you started saying, I'm more comfortable with myself because I'm being true to who I am.
Exactly.
And I think that's a lesson for everybody. Performing, guys, I want to ask you about the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize concert. What was that like?
That was amazing.
Performing live, right?
Yeah, because I think that was the first time we kind of saw like maybe like a national reaction from Norway. Kind of while performing, you know, and afterwards as well. So But it's funny, man, because we did that performance, and I swear, like, I don't know, like, we did this thing where we were dancing quite a bit, and they're running in the stands and in the crowd, and you know, it was a big show. You know, the Crown Prince of Norway was there, and there was this Nobel Peace Prize, you know, so it was a thing.
Big.
Yeah.
For us at that point, that was the biggest thing. But I left that stage, and I went up to like the backstage, like a private little toilet, and I sat there and I thought, man, I fucked it up. No. Because what happened was, during all this dancing, my throat kind of got so dry that I couldn't really sing. So I heard it while I was singing on stage.
Yeah.
And so when I left stage, I thought it sounded horrible and it sucked.
Right.
And then, thank God there must have been some autotune or something.
Thank God for post.
Well, honestly,
it was live there, so it wasn't like live and then you had.
It was, but I think they had some stuff on it for me, because I was like, or they raised the backing track a little bit. Something happened.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say I doubt it. I doubt it was as terrible as he thinks it was.
No, I don't think
it was good.
Especially back then, I don't think they were doing, you know, a lot of live tuning.
Right.
Maybe not.
Especially not for that.
It probably felt like, no.
I thought I'd messed it up for everyone, and I was just like, oh man. And then luckily I came back to the dressing room with everybody else, and everybody was celebrating, and it was a really good response.
Isn't that funny how you need other people to tell you how you did?
Yeah. Sometimes.
You could be or you could do really bad, and someone says, you're great, and you start believing you're great.
Yeah.
You know, it's until you know, okay, that was fine, it was good, or that was really.
Sorry guys for pausing, but I really feel how Vince was feeling at that point when, you know, like, I've messed up, I've really done my worst, but to people,
you've really done the
that's the best, that's
amazing.
They were not even expecting that, but for you yourself,
they kind of relieve, like,
okay. And I think that's the best feeling you can get, and the opposite of that is that the moment when you praise yourself, you say, like, I've done it, then
people are like,
what have you done?
You should have done better.
You see, that's a bad feeling, but for him, that was a
good relief.
Really good until you understand that's a part of you.
Yeah.
You know, so songwriting for you guys, I know, has been an interesting path because you had a time where the label wrote a song and you didn't really want to do it, or the label wanted you to do a song rather, and it was sort of off the beaten path of what you're all about, and you've had to switch gears many times in your songwriting. So how has that been a challenge for you? Because you kind of went from doing it on your own to then collaborating, because we thought that's what you were supposed to be doing, and then you've come back to this thing now. It's just the two of you back in the studio, right?
Yeah.
So how do you approach songwriting?
Songwriting it's been a journey for us. Has been a journey.
Yeah,
everything. We've experienced so many different things so quickly, so fast after the success of AmIWrong.
Right.
After AmIWrong, we came and had a very strong vision of what we wanted to do, who we are, you know, and then we were at a label that I think kind of saw us in a different light, wanted us to do certain songs that we didn't feel matched our image. I also think that sometimes
one of them really didn't match your image.
You've heard some of them, and some of them was like,
why are you guys doing this?
Exactly.
Oh my God, this is not who you two are.
Right.
Yeah.
But me and Vince have grown a lot, and at the time when those songs came, we were both very defensive. So we felt like, no, we can't do that. We were not easy to collaborate with at all. I think that caused a little bit of friction between us and our label as well, which I understand today and which I own. But I also think it was the right decisions to do sometimes to stand up and say no, because follow your heart. You know,
you have to. What if somebody's pushing you in a direction and trying to put you in a box? I mean, how are you supposed to say yes to something like that? Right.
But there are also times where you can stand strong and understand that, listen, whatever you sing is going to sound like you.
Yeah.
So it's a balance there. Sometimes it's okay. You get a song from a songwriter, it's going to sound like the songwriter. But as soon as you put your vocal on it, it might just become more into your world, you know.
Right.
There's a balance
and I think that balance we're figuring out how to say, when to say no and when to say okay, let's try this.
Do you guys have songwriting do's and don'ts? Or you just
do's and don'ts?
This is the thing, like even in songwriting, the way we've been doing it now, also there's been also a lot of production. We've been doing it like so far in the writing, but you see the main thing that's in our mind at this point, you know what I mean, is it's the kind of not stand in your own way, you know, kind of trust your instincts. I sent Nico some stuff. Like there was this Rolling Stones Sia interview. You know what I mean? I was reading and this whole thing, because sometimes you make stuff harder than it needs to be. You know, like by now we're together. We've been doing this for 10 years, and I think just starting with music is almost close to 15 years. You know, so now there's a lot of hours put into this stuff. And there's a lot of instincts that come with that, you know, and to kind of like trust these instincts to some point and let whatever, and then just especially the way we like to write is kind of like just channeling, like just letting whatever comes and just kind of let it be a vessel, you know, to kind of let that flow through and let that be what it is. And then later at some point you could be more logical and trying to be more critical and stuff. But like,
so the process has really got to be organic, otherwise
it's
there's no base.
You know what I mean? And trying to make it not stand in your own way, you know what I mean? And that goes for a lot of things in life, I think. You know? And just really kind of having faith in some of the skills and stuff that comes with the work you've been putting in, you know? I feel like that's kind of, I feel like to me it's like, it's a little hard, you know? Yeah. Because what happens in that process is a lot of stuff that is very instinctively you. Yeah. It comes out, and now this instinctively you stuff is maybe very different from what you maybe have heard with the stuff, you know? Yeah. So it feels scary because it's almost like this edge that's sticking out. Right. So you try to like tone it down, but then you start to realize, well, the stuff that sticks out is kind of what makes it, for sure, has the nice shape and makes it different, you know what I mean? Right. So to trust in those different things.
That's a skill.
It's a skill, even that, you know what I mean? And you can call it channeling in a way. You just allow whatever comes to you to flow through. And if you look at it, even when we made Am I Wrong, we were not better singers than we are now. We didn't have better equipment. We had the worst studio, but still it worked because it came from a genuine place. And as a matter of fact, we didn't stand in its way because we never even thought of the song as a hit song. Right. We just made it, gave it to Will Idap, let him work on it, and it was almost like the universe just put everything together.
Because you just don't know. You don't know what's going to hit. You don't know what people are going to love. So don't know. It has to come from that organic place. And it's funny that you said that, Nico, because I was somewhere recently.
Sorry, I feel like what she said is just good because like when you feel like you want to do something, just do it. Doesn't matter however resources you have, however you feel. Like if you feel like this is right, I want to do this, just do it. And I love the fact that she's putting like it should come from the organic place. Like it doesn't matter what resources you have, just do it. And
let me add on when he said that trusting your instinct and doing when and what to do when you have that instinct. It's like a training and an experience, you know, like the last time I didn't trust my instinct and this happened. Exactly. See, like, so it's a matter of time and that's, I think, what they majorized on, and knowing that, and also help them with their label at the time that some maybe the label might have a writer and come with a song for you, put it on table, and you are like, no, let's not.
This not right. You don't feel it. Just it's good to talk your heart out. Exactly. Don't force yourself. Rather than doing it with a half-hearted or then it's
like,
things
just
maybe
just they brought it. I know even the reception itself, you could know like this person didn't do this genuinely. You see.
It's good to always talk your heart out, and that's right.
Exactly, that's a good one.
And I was probably in my car, and I was listening to Tears for Fears, which is one of my favorite bands of all time. We talk about 1980, The Hurting, and one of the songs came on from that album, and I was like, the production. Listen to this production. This is analog, guys. Like, there's no tune on. Like, this is so amazing and so full, and we had just as good. It doesn't make it less of a song. We don't need all these bells and whistles. It's like, why have we become so conditioned to listen to perfection? I thought that album was perfection, and I'm going back now from 1980 and listening to that album, going, this album is perfection.
Music is a feeling, and it's all about conveying a feeling to the audience. I think. For me in particular, I think after coming to Hollywood, starting to distrust, we talked a little about it earlier, distrust what you have
Right.
and who you are.
Other people can make you question yourself.
It.
Yeah.
So what happens is you're trying to be perfect. I don't know if you've seen the movie Black Swan.
Yes.
Yeah. So Natalie Portman, who plays in the ballet dancer, who tries to be so perfect that it becomes stiff. It doesn't allow you to let loose the inner,
I love that.
power that every human being has. I believe. Right. And like we said earlier, it's a skill to be able to channel that. But to be able to do that, you have to trust that everything I say when I sing, when I speak, even if it's a little off key there or a little bit weird there, we don't need it to be so perfect. Talking about the Tears of Fears, and it just is good as you are.
Right.
If you can channel that with the fullest confidence,
and that's the head game. That's knowing who you are. And so all of that comes full circle.
And that is, we've been in the studio with many big producers and artists as well, and they seem to just know that what makes me special is that I'm different. Because I mean, we're 7 billion people in the world, and we're supposed to, it's almost like there's supposed to be 7 billion superstars here. But as soon as we try to conform and be like what society or people around us, what we expect them wanting us to be, you lose that magic.
Right. Nobody walks like you, talks like you, sounds like you, sings like you. And that's what I always tell my artists. Like, you have to find, in anything in life, you have to find your individuality.
You have to.
I know that, okay, I'm going to put you guys on the spot here for a minute. Before we take a little break. I want our listeners to hear the two of you sing.
Okay.
So we're going to do something a cappella. It can be anything you want to do. Anything that you guys sing for fun or messing around in the studio, or... because we have to let the listeners hear these magical voices of yours.
What are we gonna do?
What can
either we do one of ours or we do something else.
Or you can do a cover. I'm good with a cover.
I'm locked up, they won't let me out. They won't let me out, I'm locked up. They won't let me out, no. They won't let me out, I'm locked up. Let me out, oh. They won't let me out, I'm locked up. They won't let me out, no. They won't let me out. Hey,
lyrics.
Yo, but the funny thing about that song too,
I love it.
I was listening to the song Locked Up, like Akon. I was listening to it. I was thinking, man, I think I heard that song one time driving home from a studio session in Norway, like years ago. And then for me, that was when it kind of clicked. I listened to it and I was like, well, you know what? If I wasn't rapping, if I was singing, I would do something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I felt like there could be like a little bit of a beatbox in there, but I don't know how to do that. So it's the only thing I don't teach. Don't ask me to teach you beatboxing. I would have not crushed it in a good way. I would have crushed it in a really bad way. But beautiful voices that we can all hear. You guys have very different voices, but they just fit together like a puzzle piece. And again, nobody sings like you, sounds like you. And it's a real treat for anybody here listening to hear you guys sing. It's so smooth. And thank you for sharing your voices with us.
Thank you. Thanks, Val.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So we have this new segment on Lip Roll that we're asking all of our artists and our guests. Cool. So we want to know what's on your Spotify playlist. So if there's anything, that you're listening to on your playlist that you love, Nico, what are you doing these days?
Okay.
Give me some new tunes, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Before you just said, I was going to say, I'm so old school. I'm just back in the days. Okay, let me look here.
Well, we've had a lot of people surprise us, though. They've looked on, like the music that you would think they would never listen to. Right. They've pulled up these incredible artists.
Yeah, right. I actually, if you want something new, I really like that new song by, is he called Mine?
Oh, Bozzy.
Bozzy, right?
Bozzy, yeah.
I love that song. I heard that song in my...
nice.
I use that a lot.
Apartment.
I use that a lot with artists to do covers because it's high.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good.
I would like to. If I come back in, I would like to sing that one. Yeah, I really like that song. Other than that, I've been so much on my African stuff.
Yeah.
I've been on my Congolese music. Trust me, you wouldn't
tribal.
You wouldn't know these artists.
Yeah.
But you might like the music. It's different.
Yeah. Well, it inspires you, right?
It inspires me.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. I'm playing guitar. Congo is very guitar-based music.
Yeah.
So I'm listening to them and trying to learn how to play.
Good for you. Yeah. New instrument. We love.
Oh, I think here in Kenya we also love Congolese music. It's referred to as a rumba or something.
And for us is that for the I think 5 years people and above.
Like it's for maybe millennials
Yeah, exactly. That's
people at the age of 35, 40, 50s.
And there is a vibe that you can't escape. Let's say sometime maybe in the evening. That, afternoon, exactly. That's the vibe here. Like
maybe when you have a vibe of you're drinking maybe some beer or you're taking
just
some
find
lemon or something.
Like
Like I like the vibe of rumba. It's also amazing.
Yeah.
So maybe there are fans who have who love the rumba music. Just comment below.
Or we will introduce one to you guys.
Exactly.
Of that. The more we can pack in, the better.
Yeah.
What are you listening to, Vinz?
You know what? These days, I've been really into like classics, or maybe even new classics.
Okay.
So like songs that I've been selling a lot, just kind of to study the writing and everything. So one of the songs I like these days a lot is "Lean On," Major Lazer.
Oh, Major Lazer. Is that a classic?
Well, I don't
At least
know.
not to me.
Maybe it's not
I think
classic.
classics. I'm like Sam Cooke. Oh, Major Lazer.
No. But I'm thinking I don't think it's like a classic maybe today, but I think it's a song that maybe in 10, 15 years time when if I'm trying to go back to and somebody plays that song, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember from that time. It was like one of those songs.
It's one of the biggest from that
genre.
genre.
Like
Interesting.
a classic. It's not like like one of these nights kind of thing. It's not like that kind of classic, but it could be.
Maybe not yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like it could be a song
It's a future classic.
Yeah, like it could be a song that you go back to maybe because this is actually a pretty.
See, we did a classic, you and I. Do you remember the classic we worked on?
What was that again? We did a couple ones.
We did Seal.
We did Seal.
And you killed it.
Yeah, we did Seal. We did
Was it Rose?
We did Kiss from a Rose, and it was like, oh my God, it's the new Seal because he's got that rough. Little like rough, airy sound to his voice. It was very cool.
We
did John Legend, All of Me.
But that thing is so like I think like that could be something that
really
we go back to in the future. You know what I mean? Like it's just a quality song,
a quality classic song.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. Yeah.
But like so, I'm just kind of like mostly just kind of going through these songs that have sold a lot, and just kind of looking at just kind of the writing and how they did it. It's just interesting.
Do you guys name your playlists?
Yeah.
What's your name? I didn't know that was a thing, but apparently that's a thing now.
To name them, right?
Yeah.
I have one here called Travel.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's your travel
That's
playlist.
basically, I must have been on a travel to somewhere, and I've downloaded like 20 songs.
Oh, okay.
That I wanted to listen to while I travel. I have Inspiration.
Okay, Inspo, love it.
I have hip hop. I have a Prince playlist.
Love it.
You gotta have.
There's a classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
A lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Vinz?
I don't really do a lot. I have one that's like a workout one,
right?
And, but mostly I just on Spotify I just save them.
Yeah, that's what I do too. So, I'm on like just I hear something and I hit
which is
save,
interesting.
save.
Yeah, because then you start going back to it, you can see different time periods.
Yeah,
like there was like different phases.
What you were interested in.
Yeah. Like you have 10, 15 songs that's all in the same kind of.
So what's your
word.
guilty pleasure song then?
To be honest,
do you have one?
I don't necessarily know if I can like calling it a guilty pleasure, but I really love "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" with Cyndi Lauper. I really love it.
Okay,
There's some melodies in there that
I would not have imagined that song would come out of your mouth.
Kind of causes, but I love it.
Why? Oh, now I have to ask him. What is it about the song?
It's the melodies,
Yeah.
There's some stuff that she does, especially also kind of going at the end of the song. I can't remember this.
You better be careful. We might make you sing it.
Yeah, no, I gotta. But that's the kind of like whenever I hear that song, I really enjoy it.
Wow, Cindy's gonna love that. Yeah.
Oh, I like that so much.
Oh, all right. We're doing it now in the studio. Next time you come in, that's the song we're working on.
The melodies actually have an African flavor to it. Honestly,
did, right?
I just realized it now.
At the
hearing
end,
it a cappella, without the beats.
There's some stuff going on at the end. I can't remember what it is, but I was like, "Yo, this is pretty."
Yeah,
it has some kind of a thing. I was like, "This is something."
Girls just want to have fun, African style. Interpreted by Vince Derry.
Yeah,
this is how we're doing this. I love that.
Like the Backstreet Boys is too pretty cool. Like that way.
Oh yeah. That's a great song.
Nice.
I love that. That's probably the best answer we've had so far. Okay, no pressure.
It's funny because from that era, I remember listening to those kind of songs in that time, and it was so cheesy and so I didn't like it being into hip hop at the
true,
time.
Though, isn't it? Now we listen back and we're like, we gotta dance to it.
So I have a bunch of Spice Girl songs that I love.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Tell me what I want.
Like it's genius. No lyrics, never lyrics, just melodies. It's great. It's great. You can appreciate now the songwriting and the melody of it.
It is. That's so interesting. I never thought about that. Anything else while we're on this roll? This lip roll.
I know there's more.
I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure.
Little shameless plug there.
We talked about it once. This Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton song. Islands in the Stream. Have you heard of it?
Islands in the Stream. Is what we are.
Oh, that one, yeah, of course.
How can we belong? Sail away with me to another world, and we'll rely on each other. Making love into another.
Is that something like that?
Yeah, you can't stop singing
You know
it.
what? Those are the type of songs. Like, remember, I said no, I hadn't heard it. But it's those type of songs that you have heard it.
Right.
You definitely heard them sometime in your life.
I think this is the one ODB and it's not ODB.
Oh yeah, someone sampled it too.
Yeah, Maya and I think Ghetto Superstar.
Really?
Ghetto Superstar.
Got it.
I remember that.
This is the Gibb brothers and stuff.
Bee Gees. Yeah, again, my generation. But all classics. I mean, those were classics. And you hear a lot of music today where they sample older music, and you'll hear someone in their 20s go, "Oh, that's so great." I said, "Oh, that's a cover. You know, that's actually from 75." They're like, "What?"
Yeah.
But yeah, all the great ones they get replayed, and we're speaking of working out too. Anything?
Workout songs?
Yeah.
I think I have
It's
some.
like I'm going back to my phone.
Yeah.
Workout songs. I have a lot of hip. You know what?
Hip hop is great.
I work out to Fat Man Scoop, Crooklyn Clan, Crooklyn Clan, Crooklyn Clan.
I do not know that one.
No, this one? Really?
The Fat Man Scoop song.
I never knew there was a love like this before.
Yeah.
You don't know Fat Man Scoop?
No, but that doesn't mean anything.
No.
I was a fire song.
All right.
I know songs when artists come in and show them to me. That's where I find my songs now.
Right,
I'm never in my car, so
Yeah, I feel like hip hop is great for work.
Hip hop is amazing. I mean, listen, I still listen to house music. I mean, that's what I run to.
Yeah. House is great.
It's just got that beat, that driving beat underneath it.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think, artist-wise, that's newly discovered, or is there anybody that we should be listening to? Is there anybody that you listen to that you love that you think not a lot of people know about?
Okay.
Good question.
That's always a stumper.
It's because it's been a while since I was out
looking for
really
new
discovering artists.
Right.
I used to do that a lot before.
Well, because now we've got so much access with Spotify streams and all that. There's all these new artists that would never have a platform before. So I always like to ask that song.
Right.
But
okay, so there's one song that I liked. I sent it to Nico actually.
Which one?
It was a song called "Take Me to Your Planet." It's a Norwegian artist, which I never really heard of before, but she's called Lil Halima.
Huh.
That's one of my
shout out to Lil Halima.
Yeah, this
I
is
love
one
that.
of the new artist songs that I kind of like a lot these days.
So I want you guys to go through your phones, if you would, and play me your favorite voice memo demo. So we all have voice memos, right, that we have had on our phones for years and years, and for whatever reason we've kept them, we haven't erased them.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you've put on your phone from years ago that's kind of still there and cool that we can hear?
Yeah. Which one is something that has a good... There are so many, trust me.
Yeah, and maybe anything that didn't get made or got, an idea.
Yeah, we can go back.
I could play you a lot on mine, but I would get into trouble.
Why?
I don't think my clients would appreciate that too much, but there are some funny ones on there. So I like to ask that question.
Right. Maybe something from the Greg session.
Or just eeny, meeny, miny, moe it.
Greg session or
Greg session.
something from Team Salute session.
What about the?
You can do anything from maybe Hollywood or
Save a Prayer. Maybe.
I'll do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
How many are on there? Do you have like hundreds?
Yeah, hundreds and hundreds.
Okay.
And on different phones and just,
It's thousands even by now, to be honest. That's just this one. It's yet to be made though, man.
Anyone that you can pull up.
Wait, what?
That's all.
Say my prayer for me. Next time you and God speak, oh, will you say my prayer for me?
Gorgeous.
It's great voice though.
We love that. That's great.
No, but this, to be honest, that's the number one maybe songwriting tool. Maybe for me is the voice memos.
Yeah, because you have it. It's right there. We used to walk around with a tape
Yeah.
recorder when we, just sort of like dictate into
Like
this thing.
amazing. Huh?
Yeah.
And even sometimes you let it run, right?
Yeah.
Or I let it run and then do some stuff and then I'm like, I don't know.
You
But then
guys,
go back
I'm
to
telling
it.
you.
Listen
You go
back
back
to
to it and then it's like, hey, there's a whole thing here.
Yeah.
Like I get it now. Maybe sometimes it's not even like, sometimes it's like months and months later you go back to it and it's like, I get this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't get it at the time.
Yeah.
It's a
Well,
great
it
tool.
is. It's all very. This business again, it's all elusive and songwriting. There is no rhyme or reason to it. I just feel, again, as knowing both of you, I usually have a handful of clients where through my career I'm sitting back thinking these guys just need to be a household name. I mean, there's so much talent, there's so much music and vocals, and the two of you, the way that you like in a partnership, there's a dance that happens. You two have that. You have that magic, and I know that there's going to be another song, something out there that's just going to hit, and it's going to be remarkable.
Thank you.
Five. We were just talking about 5 Seconds of Summer earlier. Where they were dark for so many years, and for those my listeners that don't know, I train those guys as well, and amazing, talented boys, very cool voices, and all of a sudden they had this big, huge hit song, Youngblood, and they were back right on the top again. And so you're two of those artists that I just know there's something brewing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Because you do really have something very, very special. And I'm wondering what goals you have for 2019 now. So I know you're writing.
Yeah.
So what's going on this year?
We want to.
A lot's going on.
A lot is going on. We want to release a single very soon. Probably
exciting.
we're trying around April.
Yay, more music.
Yes.
We need it. We want it. Nico and Vinz fans, we need it.
Yeah, but we got like an album that's in the works. That's
in the
the
works
main
too.
thing. But you see, to be honest, the main thing for us, and we were talking a lot about it, is like we haven't been able to release music as consistently and often as we've wanted it to, for whatever reasons. It could have been like a label thing, it could have been a writing thing or whatnot. And I think that to our fans, like we're really appreciative for the fans that we have that are like really patient, because there haven't been a lot of music lately, and I hope this year we'll be able to change that, and give them, like, we've taken a long break now, not putting out any music, basically because we just wanted to say, you know what, next time we come out and we talk, we wanted to say something, you know what I mean? And we wanted to consistently have stuff to talk with. So that's maybe the plan this year
Well, it'll be worth the wait.
Exactly.
It'll be worth the wait.
And hopefully maybe you'll even be a little surprised or feel like, wow, this is something fresh and something new.
I can't wait, because for people who didn't listen to, forget Just Am I Wrong, that entire album, I loved that album.
awesome.
I mean, it was so
awesome.
inspiring and uplifting.
Yeah, right.
And if I had to have a whole album that I wanted to be inspired by, and I could choose one, that would probably be on my top 5.
Yeah, amazing.
Just every single song, it just kept hitting you in the face.
Thank
and I'm
you.
like, why are these songs not
Thank you.
being played ad
Right, thank
nauseum?
you.
And funny enough, I talked about Tears for Fears earlier. When I worked in the music business, I worked at Maverick Records back in the day. There was an album they came out called Raul and the Kings of Spain. And it was when I think the two of them had split off, and he did something on his own. And it was so good. And it just didn't hit. It didn't get listened to.
It's
and I'm
weird,
like, how can... I'm flipping out when that's... I remember we had these... Of course, we called them jewel cases, right? With the CDs. And somebody put it on my desk, and it was just it was a sample.
Right.
And I put this thing in, I put my phones in, and I melted, and I just couldn't understand why. You know, so the production, the voice, there's... It's who knows why it happens and it doesn't happen, but I just know that something brewing... And there's something brewing for you guys, and it's gonna be big this year.
I think we feel so too, you know.
Yeah,
we feel that way for
we
sure.
feel the energy.
We're sitting with the music, so we know we're like,
it's close. We're almost
it's
there.
exciting. We're definitely taking those words with us.
Yeah,
Good.
Sure.
I love that. So where can your fans and your audience find you guys?
Nowhere. You're on this podcast right here, right now.
The podcast. You can find them on Liberal, people.
We've taken a break, a long break from Instagram and Facebook and everything. We've been
You were
ghosts.
on it.
Yeah, but we're on it. Nico and
Because
Vinz.
I follow you and I haven't seen anything in at
we've been
least
out
a
for
year.
it. I know. Like I said, like we just felt like once we, like at this point,
I feel like I should be congratulating you, though.
Yeah,
not you know.
Honestly, it goes
Good for you.
Yeah, right. Let's keep
for
it at
you.
that. Good for us. Thank
It
you.
was a conscious choice.
it's conscious choice.
Yeah,
We'll be back.
it could be a soul sucker. You will be back.
We're definitely
Heavy.
not done for sure.
No.
Right.
We feel stronger than ever.
We're just
honestly.
making sure that it's like, all right, this is how I want to see Nico and Vinz at this
I
point.
get
you know
it.
what
I
mean?
get
Like,
it. And you'll be able to have that infusion happen when that music comes back.
Exactly.
Everybody understands that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of artists that had to take a break and
Yeah.
they just unplug for a little bit of time and come back with a fresh perspective. So, you know, we're all waiting with bated breath. I know that I am. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us on the show
you,
today.
Thanks
It's been
for having
really,
us.
really wonderful having you.
Thank you.
So, thank you to Nico and Vinz for being on Lip-Roll today.
Being on Lip-Roll and just kind of just laying it all out there.
They really went into it, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, everything from, you know, the culture shock of coming from Norway to here and really just understanding just how huge it was and how much advice they had for young singers and songwriters. Because I don't think many people really know how difficult it is when you're just thrown in the deep end.
Right.
Like that.
And they were definitely thrown in the deep end. I mean, if anybody can speak on that, it's the two of them. So I was very excited to hear their story from beginning to middle to end. And they've got some really good advice for their fans, their listeners, and anybody that is in the music business or wants to be in the music business. So
yeah. And I think you really hit it on the head. I think I'm really excited for what's coming down the road for them and, you know, where their journey is taking them to that next point and that next hit.
I'm hoping we can follow them at some point. So again, and have them, you know, have this explosion. So they're just so talented and so lovely. But again, we want to thank everybody that has subscribed on Apple Podcast and Spotify.
Yes.
Right? Where else, Ella?
We've got YouTube.
And we've
YouTube.
got
YouTube.
What else? Am I missing anything?
I don't know whether I should be an actor because I can't enunciate my words.
That would be very
YouTube.
Bad. Yes, YouTube.
And we love comments on there. I want to get more comments going so we can like
please
chat
give
back
us
and
comments,
forth. It'd be
guys.
super fun.
We love hearing from you. So, you know, that's super important.
Super important. And then obviously Instagram, which is, let's do it again. Let's see if we can do this in sync perfectly again. Are you ready for this?
What are we doing?
At
liproll.co. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Lip-roll. And before we say anything, just after having this talk for Nico and Vinz on Lip-roll, I've just known the meaning of Lip-roll. Have you noticed that? Like, let your lip roll with the music. You see on them when they came with the fire questions, like with the brainstorming on music, like you have to sing, you have to see your favorite, your categories of music, and you'll have to let your lip roll.
Oh.
Yeah, that's where they came with the lip roll, like music, and considering like that Valerie, she's a vocal coach, so for you to have those good vocals, you have to let your lip roll. There's more meaning of lip roll, but that has been amazing talk, an encouraging one, and I can't even I don't know where to start from, basically.
This was very motivating
Yeah.
and educative. I love the fact that Valerie is a vocal coach, so
Exactly.
she knew more about vocals, singing, and all that. And I know she's a big, let me call her big brand or a big
Exactly,
deal,
yeah.
because she's been working with so many bigger labels. And I know that she has a very good understanding when it comes to music, and so I feel like this talk was very, very educative.
And you see, like just like Nico was saying, like when he started the vocal the coachings and the classes, he had that less of confidence on his vocal until he went for the doctor to check his vocal cords, just to have the confidence, like my vocals or my throat is well, and I can really make it. You see, without the classes, he could maybe be doubting himself on music, on how can I, or how better I am, how qualified I am. But with the coaching class from Valerie, it really mentored him and made him more confidence on what he was doing. You see, and how that's how good the coach classes is, and how good personally Valerie helped him. And also, I really liked the motivation from Nico and Vinz journey. You see, even though they say like they get some challenges with the label, but they believe that the decision that they made,
It
they
was
were really good
it was
for
the best
themselves.
choice.
Exactly, that's the best thing.
Always have confidence in yourself.
Yeah, and you know, there's something that you does from your heart with confidence. Wherever the outcome, you'll just believe in yourself, and you'll have peace of mind, peace of heart, and everything. You know, like I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, true. So basically, guys, that's been really, really an amazing talk. So you hope you really had an amazing time.
Of
Maybe
course.
you got something good out of it. Don't forget to drop what's really you really get, maybe the best education you got out of the talk or out of the conversation, because it was really a lot. So thank you so much for your time as well. We really appreciate this particular interview from Dan. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah.
And thank you for your time. Otherwise,
I don't have much. I'll see you on our next one. Stay tuned. Don't forget to leave your comment.
bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.